My name's Dale McDowell. I've raced with Scott for many, many years, my brother and I. It's a good thing I didn't make notes, because Mark and I didn't talk about our notes, but that was exactly what I would have put in my notes. So I can only hear Scott up here if I had notes, if he were doing this for me, is he'd say, throw those things away, just tell it like it is. That's who he was. So I'm going to wing it, and it's like I said, we've raced together for, oh my gosh, since the mid-'80s. I posted a picture earlier of he and I, and it was 36 years ago. So when he came in to the picture there in Tennessee, I was racing out of North Georgia, but we raced right there at the same racetracks a good bit, and he just cut his teeth at Atomic and Kingsport and Bulls Gap and those places like that, and just you started. Back then we didn't have internet, but we had racing papers. Some of you guys will remember that. We had racing papers every 2 weeks, and you could not open a racing paper or receive a racing paper without his picture on the front of it. And that was every week. So throughout that, he reached a lot of racers. He's, like Mark said, he set the bar so high that he made us if you wanted to be part of the best, you had to go race with the best. So that leads me to the first time I was ever here at Eldora, a kid racing around home, Cleveland, North Georgia area, Cleveland and North Georgia, and the tracks Atomic and Smoky Mountain and those places that we raced together. He would come up to me and he'd tell me, he's like, Dale, you got to branch out, you got to go further, you need to get out some of these other racetracks, and we were blessed with a lot of racetracks in our area, and we could go race weekly. But he kept on and kept on and kept on. So in 1994, he brought a kid up here to drive his car. 30 years ago, that's me. 30 years ago, that's me. So I know you guys probably don't remember that. But when I got that call, to do that, it was, even though it didn't turn out well, I crashed, and he gave me a hard time for a long time because I crashed his favorite car. We got here, and I drew an early number, and back in the day, we didn't have all these prelims. So you came here on Thursday and teched, and then you came on Friday and you had 2 qualifying laps, and then Saturday you did all the heats. So I went out and I drew an early number, and I out-qualified him, but he drew late, but they had the invert, and then I ended up getting in a crash off of turn 2, and so it didn't turn out for me. But what that did do for me, was it opened my eyes to know what he was telling me to be true. So to share the sentiments Mark said, as many young people as he's reached inadvertently, not even knowing that he's reached these racers, the little girls.
I welcome you back on here. If you're new, consider subscribing, liking, and also share this video. So nearly 3 weeks after the death of the dirt racing legend, that is Scott Bloomquist, there was a celebration of life service at the Eldora Speedway. That was on September 7th, before that popular 100 race championship, which by the way he won close to four times, and he was really a legend within that race and so many other races. So Bloomquist died in a plane incident that was on August 16th, and he was 60 years old. We saw so many people, friends, family, fans gathering. Actually, the congregation, I've never seen such a very huge congregation, close to 15,000 people, fans, attended that send-off, paying tributes, paying their last respects. At the celebration of life, we saw so many speakers, coming out to pay their own tributes. Mark Richards was the one who first came in. Then we saw the daughter, that is Ariel Bloomquist, also coming out to pay her own respects to the fallen dirt. But of course, what actually what actually caught my attention was, was Adele McDowell, coming out to pay his own respects in a speech that was really emotional, like you've heard at the beginning of this video. And by the way, we want to credit the video to Flow Racing. McDowell, was really emotional. He talked about how competitive, Scott was. He talked about his relationship that had actually spanned for close to 20 plus years. And of course, I really liked how he actually came out with that tribute. Man, it was really touching, very emotional. Of course, the mood was really somber. It was a bit down, but of course it was a very befitting ceremony to the legend that is Scott Bloomquist. In this moment in time, we are praying for the family, sending our sympathies to the fans, friends, and everyone who knew Scott Bloomquist. Rest in power, the king, Scott Bloomquist.